Okay. You still want me to reply and talk, right?
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
Let's go. Let's watch the first fight again because I think we win it. Okay, we cut the first fight. All right, fight's over. We're just on cleanup duty right now. As Reaper, or as any DPS player, like what's your goal as a DPS in a vacuum in a game?
Cool. As in general for DPS,
Yeah, what's your goal?
I think pick off, focus important targets and try to get picks.
So picks, and you said something about important targets. What can you like elaborate on important targets? What does that mean?
Like,
I'm not being facetious. I'm genuinely curious. What does that mean
I,
to you?
I feel like a lot of people, they'll complain to me when I'm on their team. Like if I'm playing a DPS, they're like, "Oh, are the Reapers just on our tanks and constantly killing us? Like, like someone has to do something about it." And then I'm just like, okay, then I guess I have to focus on the Reaper now, or maybe it's like, well, yeah, important basically maybe like an Anna or something, like get rid of her, or if it's opportunity arises. But I guess when I was saying important picks, I kind of meant um being able to take what your team damages them like with, and like actually getting something out of it instead of like just shooting everyone, like actually shooting someone you can kill and getting people down before they get you down.
Yep. They're correct when they ask you for help, right? Most of the time. They generally have the right idea. If a teammate asks you for help when they're noticing an enemy DPS putting work on them and they need help from your DPS, that's part of one of the appropriate goals as a DPS. The other one, alright, so not even the other one. Would you also say that it's sometimes important to shoot at a shield or at a barrier as a tank or as a DPS or maybe help out with a shield break? Is that do you think is that a part of playing DPS?
Yes, it is. It's just that in solo queue, when I play solo queue, it's like the team does not know what they want to do. Like sometimes it's like they don't know if they want to just dive the team or just like get like flank them or something, or everyone goes for the shields and we go through the shields, you know?
Right,
So
so you brought up the third thing, right? This is like one, this is two, and then the third thing is flanks, right?
yeah,
So these are all correct, by the way. It's like figuring out important targets, it's helping out with shield break when necessary, it's flanks. All in all, you can boil down what your goal as a DPS is to one thing, and that's matchups. In the most broad sense of the word.
right.
It will
So
always be about matchups. That's it.
so is it like my job basically to be the counterplay?
Sometimes, if the enemy has a really good Widow, you're probably going to have to switch Widow to neutralize that Widow. That's a matchup,
Right.
right? Even if you're
Yeah.
not, you may not even meddle. Not that medals are super important, but you may not even meddle, but you're neutralizing that enemy Widowmaker. So that's an important part of matchups. Maybe when your team engages, the other DPS is flanking your supports, and then they need help defending themselves. So you go and peel, and now you're just going to hang out with them and bodyguard your supports for the rest of the match. That's matchups. Maybe sometimes you have really aggressive tanks who will take a lot of aggro for you, and it lets you take a flank route and take off angles and get free shots. That's also playing the matchup game. It's
Right.
all about boiling it down to matchups in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's neutralizing an enemy target, maybe it's peeling, maybe it's shield breaking, maybe you just need to go like Junkrat and just destroy these barriers, which won't be the case in the new patch anymore. But maybe that
Right.
just needs to be the case, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe you just need to go Sombra and hack the Doomfist that's bothering you. Or maybe you need to go Mei and throw up a wall at the Bastion.
Right.
It's all about matchups leading to determining the win condition.
How do I learn my team's win condition in
Well,
solo queue? Like it's
determining.
I can like end up in the end kind of figuring it out, but it's like I don't do it fast enough where I figure out like what my job or it should be in that game, you know?
Well, I'm glad you asked about win conditions. Because it works hand in hand with just general DPS play. A win condition, there's not one quick way to say it, but you're essentially trying to answer what you're trying to find an answer to what your team is losing or dying to. So the most basic example I can give is an enemy Doomfist keeps destroying your supports. He's getting in and getting out before anyone can do anything about it.
Yeah.
That's the win condition. Or what's the win condition?
Neutralize him
Stop Doomfist.
Yeah, just
right?
stop him, make him feel like he shouldn't be doing the same thing over and over.
He's destroying the supports and getting out safely, so your supports can't heal, so you're never winning a fight. The win condition now is to stop Doomfist at all costs, so your supports can do their job. As a DPS player, how can you fulfill that win condition of stopping Doomfist?
Either watching the supports closely and making that my goal to defend them, or switching to a character that directly counters him, probably.
Exactly. That's it. That's your win condition. Either you pick McCree or May and literally be a bodyguard to your supports to help out when the Doomfist comes in, or it's an outright, I'm going to go Pharah or Sombra and I'm going to stop him. There's two different ways to fulfill that win condition. Or May or something like that.
Right.
But picking one of those is your win condition. So in order to get from... So this is like step 2. Is determining the win condition. Step 3 is fulfilling the win condition. Like we just said. Right? Fulfill win condition. I'm just going to put WC. Step 1 is... I can't fit it here. But it's observing. It's observing to see what the actual win conditions could be.
Right. I definitely do not do that enough, but I can see like how useful that would be.
Right, so what tells you what your win condition is? You have a tool right at the top right of your screen.
Oh, the kill feed.
Yeah. I mean, this tells you everything you need to know. You also have one more tool that tells you everything you need to know. I haven't seen you press it once yet, by the way, in this video.
Oh, tab?
Yeah. It tells you everything you need to know. Tab and the kill cam gives you more than enough intel. You don't need to jump in voice comms. You don't gotta flame people on mic. Everything you need to know is in the tab screen and the kill cam. I mean, like the kill feed. It's everything. I mean, everything. Before, like way back Overwatch, they didn't even tell you percentages. You just had to guess it.
Yeah.
Right, so it's like, you even got that now. It tells you if your enemy's on fire. It tells you who's on fire, so you know they're involved in the play in some way.
Damn, I never ever look for the enemy team and who's on fire.
Right, so you're like, if like their Doomfist is on fire, you're like, okay, he's killing everybody. So that's my win condition, right? Or like right here, right? I mean, you killed their Reaper. So, all right, let's take a little aside real quick. In a vacuum, you just killed their Reaper. Who has the numbers advantage?
We do, definitely.
Right, so what should you just do as a general thing as a team right now? What key should everyone press right now on their keyboard?
Tab.
Tab and what else?
W. Oh, W. Oh, like go on to like follow them.
You're up 5-6. Why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah.
And you're up 5-6, and they don't have a Reaper, so in a brawl they can't win.
So
that's a win condition right there, right? You're like, oh, if you want to get in voice or not, but like, you just killed their Reaper. They can't brawl with you, so your tanks and your supports are safe. Your supports are safe from flanks, and your tanks are safe from brawl. You don't got to worry about a Reaper coming in on you right now. So just push in crazy, because nothing's gonna stop the fact that you have a Reaper and they don't.
Right.
It's simple things like that. That's a win condition right there.
So maybe in this clip, like, how would I balance it out better? Like, should I have just gone like and chased them down until everyone respawned, or like should we stagger them over and over? Is it kind of like depends?
It could snowball into a snowball. It totally depends on how you want to have played that. But that's just for this specific instance of the fight. Let's keep talking general, like DPS and matchups and all that win condition and all that fun stuff.
Okay.
The tab screen and the kill feed will tell you everything you need to know about what you need to do as a DPS. And we set what those like specific win conditions are. It's finding out important targets, it's helping out in the flanks, it's shield breaking, it's neutralizing. Neutralizing is the fourth one I'm looking for. Neutralizing a threat. neutralize. That says I'm left-handed too,
Yeah.
so I can't type. I can't do the click with
Oh,
the right. Yeah, it's really hard for me. Um, so again, in a vacuum, if an enemy had a tracer who was on fire, so she's probably killing your supports or getting a lot of ult charge, feeding on your tanks. What could you do as a DPS player?
you say Sombra?
You could go Sombra maybe. You could
Oh,
go.
oh, wait. Sorry. What
I'll
character
say
was
it
this?
again. I'll say it again. Enemy tracer is on fire, so you know she's either farming your tanks, or she's killing your support line, or she's winning her DPS matchups. You know she's a problem. What could you
Yeah,
do right then and there in a vacuum as a DPS player?
probably Switch would be, I guess.
Switch to what? To what? What and why?
Maybe McCree or Sombra because they can at least catch her, have a chance of catching her before she keeps moving, like stop her movement and get a kind of free kill on her.
Right. So you can counter. You can go straight counter swap, right? So like
Yeah,
McCree's a counter to tracer in a vacuum. Or you can go for the number 4, which is neutralize. How would you neutralize a tracer? Not counter, neutralize.
another tracer.
Another tracer. You play the mirror.
Wow.
You always have the option of playing the mirror. This is an important distinction to make between 4 and 5.
Uh,
A
Oh my
lot of
god.
a lot of DPS players, and not even DPS players, a lot of Overwatch players will say X, please switch, right? When in reality, it's not. This game has grown so much where it's not just rock paper scissors counters. Not really.
Yeah.
Only one I can really think of is Sombra and Ball. You know, like there's some where it's like legitimately she counters the kit fully, or like Sigma and Diva. Diva can't do jack squat against a Sigma. I mean, there's some that are just like direct counters, but heroes have gotten so complex and the damage so much and healing so much in this game. It's got to be about neutralizing encounters and figuring out which one is appropriate at what time. So it's like, how do you counter a Widowmaker? Well, you could pick Monkey, Diva, or Wrecking Ball and just really be on her ass. But most of the time, a really good Widowmaker is being really good because she has a good team supporting her. So you can't just jump on her with Monkey because she'll get away. You know, or she'll have a Harmony Orb on her, or she'll be Mercy damage boosted so you won't even make it there. So
Right.
sometimes you have to go for the counter, which is just match the Widowmaker and take her away from picking off your team because she has to deal with you. So sometimes you have to say, okay, this Doomfist is destroying me, but I'm trash at Sombra, but I'm good at Doomfist, so I'm just gonna go Doomfist myself, and we're gonna have a Doomfist mirror match, and that'll be our win condition. How do I stop that Doomfist from killing my supports? Well, if he's got to deal with me, he's not gonna be killing my Zen. You gotta start thinking about it that way.
That is so smart. And I've actually seen people in ranked games like copy me after I do kind of well, and for some reason I never understood why until now.
What's one of the easiest ways to counter Pharah?
Hit scan
Pick
apparently.
Pharah.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That happens a lot to me.
Just pick
Yeah,
another Pharah, because now the
that
Pharaoh,
happens a lot.
because now both Pharahs have to engage against each other, and if they have to engage against each other, then they're not shooting at other people.
Right, because they share the space and like
Exactly.
easily
So now
it's all kill.
all of their time is occupied going against each other. Versus a hit scan where it's like, okay, now we're gambling on the fact that you can aim. A good Pharah is gonna be like, I will take that bet.
Yeah,
Realistically, a good Pharah who's really confident in their skills would be like, I'm gonna take that bet, and I'll
yeah,
probably win.
exactly,
Because I have a
exactly.
Mercy with me or something, or a Harmony Orb on me or something.
Yeah,
So we got to start thinking about that now. So even in gold rank, especially in gold rank, a lot of this can all be solved with just figuring out the difference between a neutralizing and countering as a DPS player and what that matchup looks like.
right,
And it works in with the win condition.
exactly.
So that's
Yeah,
why the advice of some people is like pick projectile just so you can have it up your, you know what I mean, have it up your sleeve. Because most of the groups of projectile heroes and most of the group of hit scan heroes, in some way, shape, or form, either neutralize or counter their counterparts.
wow.
So that's why you want to do that and still have like a hit scan in your back pocket. You know, like maybe they got that widow that's popping off, right? And you can't win as Hanzo. You know, it's not a good matchup to take. So like you're like, all right, I'm decent enough at widow where I can neutralize her. I can at least keep her busy while she's not, versus her just picking off my Zen out of spawn. She's got to deal with me now. That
Yep.
that's what we want to start getting to as DPS players. I didn't mention anything
That's
about aim.
yeah.
This is not a doing it. You know, like this is really what it is. This is exactly what it
I,
is.
I
So,
couldn't have figured any of this out on my own, but the way you're explaining it and like all these terms, like they make so much sense now to me. Like
I'm
I
glad.
see it in my games. I just couldn't like put it into words, I guess.
No problem. So let's again. We're gonna look at this in a vacuum. I'm gonna delete all this, but it'll be on video for posterity.
Okay.
We haven't watched the rest of the video. Doesn't matter. This is your team. This is their team. How do you feel about this matchup? I know it's gold and not everyone's going to play their hero to their fullest capacity, right? That's fine, but just, again, in a vacuum, assuming this is like a Masters or GM game or something like that.
Right.
Let's just do an activity, like what works here, what doesn't work here, as matchups.
Well,
Think
since I'll start
yours
with
to
me.
theirs, yeah, yours to
Yeah,
theirs.
I'll start with me. I'll say that Junkrat's not really like I don't exclusively counter him. Like he can still kill me.
But you can punish him if he's in a bad spot, right?
Right. Yeah.
Hmm.
Sigma is not doesn't go down as fast as other tanks, and he can fight back a little bit.
A little bit, but this is a counter, because you can bypass his barriers,
Yeah, actually, that's a good point.
right? What about
Um,
Arisa?
Risa, I feel like I do really well against her most of the time, unless she's like super smart with shield dancing or something like that.
Right, so this is a good pick. And then the Reaper versus Reaper matchup is always neutral.
Yeah, which I like doing that because I have a lot of experience on Reaper.
Rest, this is like an advantageous matchup. Okay, what about your Mei? How does she fit in with your win condition, and how does she like synergize with you and the enemy?
Mm.
How can she help you against this team comp?
Okay, let me see. She can freeze the Reaper for sure.
Freeze the Reaper, right? When he comes in for those crazy flanks.
Yeah.
Who is she really good against? Which tank is she really good against?
Sigma?
Yeah, he can't do anything about her freeze.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't like being walled off. Neither the Sig Risa doesn't like being walled off. Because so much of their synergy until the patch is just having all these barriers between them and the enemy. So if you get a big wall on one of these players, it's pretty much into your advantage. Okay, knowing that, where does your Mei probably want to fight? Does she want to fight from range against this comp? Does she want to fight from range? Does she want to fight up close? Like, where does she want to fight?
Maybe. Okay, I mean, I really don't know the answer, but maybe like in the middle, like so she can look at our team and defend us against Reaper, but also be able to use her wall strategically.
Yeah, so like neutral, right? She wants to be in the neutral game.
Yeah.
She's not really gonna take any range things against here. She could brawl too, so it'll be neutral brawl. That's the range she wants to be at. Now, are these ranges also good ranges for Reaper or not?
Yeah, they would be good.
Yeah, right?
I think.
These are good
Yeah.
ranges for Reaper as well, so we can check them off. So, what does that tell you where you and the Mei should be relatively positioned? Even if you're not in voice, you're not on a team, you're nothing. Where should you help each other out?
Between the enemies and the point, maybe.
There you go. In the neutral and the brawl.
Yeah.
So that's how you want to take your fights. The second part, or another part of being a DPS, so we talked about matchups and win conditions, is engagements. Like, how do we actually take them?
Right.
And like, why do we take them? And like, what do they look like? Engagements and like timing of engagements. So we know, because we have a Mei with us, and both of us counted this comp, or at least are advantageous against this comp. And you told me, and you're right, that they need to be in the neutral brawl game. Our engagements should be pretty close, right?
Yeah.
As a Mei and Reaper tandem, our engagement should be very close, because
Right.
that's where our abilities will synergize with each other, and that's where our abilities will be advantageous against the enemy.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Right? Now let's flip-flop it a little bit. Let's say you were Farah right now, and she was still
Yeah.
Mei, and this is still versus the same comp. Where would your engagement locations change to? Where would they change to? They wouldn't be neutral. You wouldn't want to brawl with Farah anymore, right?
No.
So no, but you still have a maze. So where would you want to change these locations to?
Um, Probably. Well, it kind of maybe it depends, but like I guess in a somewhere I can have cover, maybe closer to my team, and like constantly be able to harass the enemy team.
Right. So still neutral, right? Because that's
Yeah.
relatively safe. But then you want to start taking long range poke,
Yeah.
right? And then look at the enemy comp. Can you do that safely?
Yeah. Most of the time, yeah.
Most of the time, yeah, right. Pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty. Yeah, exactly. Like I can definitely always look at the comp and see where they are at least if I can get in the sky and just look.
Exactly. So this is the battlefield. This is sort of the middle. And this is like where the tanks are fighting. They're gonna, because these are all like, they're gonna be relatively close. If they're like fighting in this area, if you were a Reaper, you would be all in the mix, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna draw May in black as well. May would be, actually no, I'm not gonna do that. May's gonna be blue. May's definitely gonna be in the mix. Reaper will be in the mix. What would Farah be?
Um, if your team has pressure or like everyone really is fighting close to
Yeah,
each other, then
purple's
maybe
like,
on yeah. So maybe on the flank and like in the air, just harassing, distracting the enemy team.
maybe behind him even, right?
Yeah.
Right, look at all these spots he could be.
Yeah.
Reaper's gonna be here. So that's how we want to start thinking about engagements as DPS players.
God, this is next level stuff. Like, actually, I understand you explaining this really well, but it's just like surprising how much I'm learning right now.
I'm glad, man. That's what I'm here for. Now let's talk about. I want to talk about timing and like what I mean by that.
Yeah.
You can narrow it down to three things. This is a simplification version: pre-fight, actual fight, or engagement. I'm sorry, pre-engagement, actual engagement, post. No, late engagement. I'll explain what these mean. Pre-engagement, the actual engagement, and then late engagement.
Okay.
Before we even start a fight. So I'm gonna backtrack to the beginning of this fight. This is the actual fight. So this is all pre-fight right now. Right? Both teams are walking from spawn. No, first
Okay.
fight of the game, nothing's happening. What could you do right now as Reaper? What ability could you use?
Shadow step.
Yeah, and where could you go with Shadow Step right now?
Um,
So your team is going up here. They want to
yeah.
brawl, right? Look, they got Brig, they got Moira, they got May, they want to fight close. They're going to brawl.
Yeah.
Reaper can do a
Maybe
bunch of different things. He can brawl, he can flank. So where could he go right now? You could
maybe
go here,
go
sorry.
like
You could go here. You could brawl with them. Where else could you go?
yeah. Could go. I mean, I'm not sure. Like, I'm thinking maybe I can teleport into the other buildings on the other side and flank them, maybe,
Yeah,
or maybe the point.
yeah, yeah. So like up here, this is the point. You could go. You could go up to the bridge up there. You could go like under. Like under this bridge.
Yeah.
You could go towards their spawn, like in this general direction. That's pre-fight. That's pre-fight engagement. Pre-fight positioning as a DPS. Reaper can do that because he's got Shadow Step. Doomfist can do that because he has all these mobility abilities to get to go far away. Tracer can do that. Genji can do that.
Yeah. So they can be there before most people.
Right. And so
Fine.
if you're gonna take a pre position, when are you going to actually engage in the fight?
Once it's started.
Exactly. And what are you gonna do once the fight starts? So if the fight starts here on the bridge like it did, and let's say you took this flank position on the bridge,
Yeah.
they all brawling. Where are you gonna go?
I'm gonna flank them, put pressure, and try to go for easy targets.
There you go, because everyone's gonna be looking this way. That's gonna be their field of view, and you're gonna come from the off angle and shoot.
Yep.
That's a pre. An actual engagement is just going with them, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, all right, we're all going to brawl. We're all going to brawl. I'm Reaper. Let's go. I got lifesteal.
Right.
What's post? Quote unquote
Um,
post.
that would be once we've gotten a sizable numbers advantage and the enemy team is either backing off or continues to fight, and we're trying to go for objectives.
Yep. Which heroes are good for that? Which DPS heroes are really good for post?
Probably Genji, Doomfist, Soldier, maybe Tracer.
Tracer. Tracer's really good for that. Because
Yeah,
Tracer can be a mosquito and get those low health guys, right?
yeah,
She can one clip those low health targets. So it's like let's think about this as let's say we were a Tracer and we'll think about it as the timing. So the fight happens on the brawl, and your Reaper is just swinging like a crazy person, and so like a lot of their targets are like that. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And then you can come in as Tracer and just kill all these guys.
yeah. That's very good DPS synergy right there too, because maybe Reaper can't finish everyone off if they run, but then Tracer can finish them off because she can chase them.
Exactly. So let's think about it for the pre. So let's say you're Doomfist, and you're like, all right, guys, go brawl. I'm gonna hang out on bridge, and then the actual engagement starts, and you start off with what? Maybe an E, like a big E, right?
Yeah,
And now you're the guy who gets them all down here, and then your team cleans up.
yeah,
Or if we're doing like the actual engagement timing, and everyone just goes to brawl, maybe you just go in YOLO and start shooting your shotguns, or you just rocket punch someone to get a first pick, and you go from there. But
yes.
that makes sense.
That does make sense, but should I assume that if I did do the pre-work before the fight, that I would have a bigger impact, like a bigger chance to actually win the fight?
Yeah, most of the time, yeah, because if you're gonna go for the pre-engage, you're probably taking a flanking position in some way or shape or form. You're either gonna take flank or high ground.
Yeah,
So you most of the time, yeah. Especially at lower SRs. Especially at lower SRs, because teams don't know how to peel for each other. Um, Supports don't know how to check their flanks. DPS don't know how to bodyguard. Tanks don't know how to wait for a pre-engagement.
yep,
So yeah, most of the time, yeah. So like you always see like the smurfing dooms or whatever, because that's all they do. You know, like they're not doing anything crazy. They're waiting for the diamond team to get in a shitty position, and then they're just cleaning up the mess. That's
yeah,
all they're
yeah.
doing. That's all they're
All those
doing.
things you mentioned, like I can like the thoughts I have, I'm like I need to work on that thing, but it's just like I don't know how sometimes, and or like maybe I do know how, like what to do, but then I still like lose track of it because I guess I didn't see it as important, but like I'm seeing now that like it might actually be amazing to think through things and have the game sense.
Right. No, it'll come with time. I promise. It's like Reaper's good for pre-engagements, right? Shadow
Yeah,
step up here, wait for them all to engage, and then just literally walk in with W, shoot, kill two people, and then wraith right out of position back to your healers.
right.
That's all it is. So again, this is fine because it's Reaper and he can do this.
Yeah,
So this is totally appropriate. You could have also, but now like pre-engagement, you just would have been here hiding.
yeah,
Does that make sense now?
yeah,
It's like now this is the field of vision that your team actually has now, versus right now we're all looking this way.
yeah. So even they could have had a pre-engagement, and then we could have got hit.
Exactly. Now let's say, I'm glad you asked that question. Let's say their Reaper, I'll put him in yellow, wanted to do the same thing you had. You'll be in black, and you guys both met at the bridge or something like that. What is this now?
Uh, Matchup,
Yep,
neutral. Yeah,
it's a matchup. So it all boils down to matchups. Now it's just a 1v1 matchup. That's a possibility, but start thinking that way.
okay.
And then I know you hear this all the time. Take space, take space, take space. Right? You see it all the time in like Reddits and like the
Yeah,
forums and coaching
I see
videos.
that.
Tanks take space, tanks take space.
Yeah, exactly.
This is taking space. If you start here, come in the actual engagement, kill two, and then go back over here. This is literally your space now. That's your route. That's your flanking route. Because now the other team has to either send someone to go answer you at this flanking route, or if they don't answer you at this flanking route, it's still yours. You own this building. You'll always have
Dude.
it.
So like,
That's taking space. Now this is yours.
right.
Versus this tiny brawl. Look at the field of vision. You only have this space.
I feel that makes me think like I should value like pressuring them through the objectives a lot more.